Aloha from the beautiful sunny Hawaiian Islands. I'm Jean Tupola, and I would like to introduce you to a really special vegetable, and that is yams or sweet potatoes, which are so nutritionally loaded that we all need to have them in our diet, especially our children. I know that it's difficult and a challenge to get our kids to eat vegetables, so I'm going to show you a way today to introduce them to this highly packed vegetable. You know, it has more nutrition than broccoli and spinach and Brussels sprouts. It's double at least the nutritional value. So the dish that we're going to prepare today is called Island Yam Bake. You can tell already that I'm a Southern Belle from North Carolina originally, and when I moved over here I married a Polynesian, and I found that their culture also values the sweet potatoes and yams. So number one, we're going to put 3 eggs into our mixing bowl, and we're going to beat them a little bit. And then we are going to add 4 ounces of Philadelphia cream cheese and beat this a little bit. You know, the yams were used by the American Indians as early as 1540. And when Columbus came to the West Indies, he took the sweet potato and yams back to Spain, where they exported them to England. Even King Henry valued the spiced potato pies. So now we're going to add 1 cup of light brown sugar. And that's not packed or anything, just a cup. And then we're also going to add a 1/2 cup of coconut, this being an island bake. You could also substitute, if you don't like coconut, some pineapple. And I would drain one of the small 8-ounce cans, and you could add that instead if you prefer. And let's add 2 tablespoons of flour. 3 tablespoons of melted butter, a teaspoon of salt. You know, salt always brings out the flavors. And then I'm going to add 1.5 cups of milk. Now I'm using whole milk, but if you want to reduce the calories, you could also use, you could use 2%. Or skim milk, I'm sure, but this has a custard-like base, so you know, the higher the fat content, the better the custard. Then we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla, one of my favorite of all time flavorings. And in addition to that, we're going to add nutmeg and cinnamon. And I really like these little grinders because it gives a nice fresh taste to the dish that you're preparing. Also, a whole nutmeg would be excellent to use, just using your zester. Stir this, and then finally we're going to add 2 large sweet potatoes or yams. The difference being that the yam is the one that has the red outer peel and the orange on the inside. Here in Hawaii we also have purple ones, called Okinawan, or from our own Hawaiian island, Molokai, and these potatoes are purple. So if you could find those, I would use them. They're outstanding. But otherwise, any yam or sweet potato will work in this recipe. I also prefer to use my box grater when I prepare the peeled yam or potato, because it gives a crunchier texture to this casserole. So I'm going to add the carrots. Carrots, sweet potatoes, they look so much alike. And mix this. This is such a simple recipe that perhaps you could get your children involved. Of course, you'd have to handle the grating, but the rest of it, they could help you. It's outstanding for Thanksgiving and Easter, or just a treat. So, take your casserole dish, butter it, and we are going to put this in our container. You know, you could really add the pineapple and the coconut. This bake goes really, really well with poultry and pork. Well, I've done something I guess every cook has done. I forgot to put in the spices. So I'm just going to slip this back in here. Add my spices, and that is a half a teaspoon of cinnamon and a fourth of a teaspoon of the nutmeg. Oh gosh, it smells so good. How could I have forgotten those spices? That really makes the difference in this island yam bake. So let's try again. We'll just pour it out here in the dish. Look how colorful. That in itself is tempting. All right. And there we go. So we're going to bake this for 1 hour at 350 degrees in a preheated oven. And let me share with you the finished product. Flip that back over. I like the crusty look. So, wouldn't you enjoy that for your holiday meals? Mahalo for your attention, or thank you in Hawaiian, and hope you will enjoy this dish. Aloha.